Go ahead, put it on real tight. Hope you brought your best tonight. They say they got the fireworks, yeah, they say they got the show. Here around the chutes, you're the best, so let's go.
This is Texas Toast. I'm your host, Miss Helen. Kick back and enjoy as we toast the best from Texas.
Welcome to Texas Toast. I'm Miss Helen, along with a super duper special person. Excited to welcome to the podcast Linda Wilson, who is the president of the Texas Country Music Association. Linda, how's it going?
Oh, it's going great. Busy, crazy. I am a hot mess right now, really, because we've been building out our studio and podcast studio in Carthage at our new corporate office. So doing a lot of building construction, putting stuff together, fixing the office up. Just been busy doing that.
That is a busy. I've been dealing with contractors for the last few months with repairs we had to do here from last year's hurricane. It's like all the little things that comes along. Like you think you got one thing fixed and something else goes crazy.
Yes. You think you've got everything paid for.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, let's talk about what the Texas Country Music Association represents and all this support that you give to songwriters, musicians, venues, artists. And basically, you were the one that had the vision and started this association.
Yes. It was really a dream of mine back in the early 90s, and just kind of sat on it for a long time. I think a couple of other people tried to do it and failed. So I really put a lot of thought and prayer into it, to figure out exactly how I wanted it to look. And then the timing was just right. And everything fell into place. And it seems like now everything just keeps falling into place, and opportunities and more people involved. And but the dream of mine was back in the 90s, was back when Texas country music really wasn't a thing, like it is now. I started a publication called Texas Country Music Magazine, which really kind of spearheaded the phrase Texas country music. I'm not taking all the credit for it by any stretch of the imagination. But when we started doing our magazine, and back then, we didn't have the internet and Facebook and all of that. It was in hard copy print, format. And so we just wanted to profile the country music artists that were from Texas at that time. It was George Strait and Willie, Mark Chestnut, Tracy Byrd, Tracy Lawrence, Doug Supernaw, Clay Walker, all of those 90s Texas guys.
Right.
And then of course, I wanted to be able to, being in with the magazine and in the industry, you meet so many other artists out there that aren't of that stature, let's say, don't have a major recording contract and all of that. So I wanted people to be able to hear those people and see those people, that they weren't seeing on a daily basis. It's still like that now, because although thank God for Texas radio that does play, our artists and all of that, but there's still so many out there that don't get radio airplay. They have great shows. They maybe a radio station that really does a good job of highlighting Texas country, and there's tons of them out there now. So that's what we're all about, is to help to promote the industry as a whole. And like you mentioned, it's not just the artists and songwriters, but the musicians behind the scene, the venues, the media like yourself, and radio, and even, television shows, which we're kind of trying to work harder at getting more, television. And it's not only the artists in Texas that want to just play Texas, because we want them to go out elsewhere, and They want to go out elsewhere. The big thing now is streaming and streaming, Spotify, iTunes. That wasn't in existence back then.
No.
So a lot has changed, but people like Brandon Ryder, Wade Bowen, Randy Rogers, and all of that era that really made Texas country a thing has really helped catapult TCMA into where we are today.
I think it's an amazing association and organization. And I too remember when we were first, seeing, the Texas music start growing. I was in radio and I was a big advocate back then. I have been in heated meetings with program directors and general managers, and I won the fight, won the battle. And then all of a sudden they started seeing it because the sales department's coming in and going, like Brazoria County Fair, Fort Bend County Fair. It was all Texas artists, and we did start spinning them. And our door was always open. But back before we had internet and all that, we literally had to go to shows to find them, to see them, to get the CDs. And then the radio tours came along and the radio promoters. So it's been a beautiful thing watching the birth of how much our Texas music has grown. And then now we have this association that represents and supports so much. And one thing I want to talk about also is it's not just the association, but you have so many services. Like, I can't wait weekly to get the Texas Country Music Chart.
Oh, I know. Yes. We started that in 2018. Kenny Schneebly is our administrative director. He handles all of the charting, the organization of it, the monitoring, the uploading the songs. The artists need to know that that's a vital service that we provide through TCMA. Texas Country Music Chart is one of the only two digitally monitored airplay charts that there are for Texas. The other is CDX, which puts out Traction TX, and Joe Kelly and I are very good out, even though we do the same thing, we're very good allies. We work together. We're Texas based. He's in Nashville. That's right. A benefit for all of our artists. I am no way against Nashville. I love some of the music coming out of there, and y'all don't crucify me for that, but I do. I love Morgan Wallen and John Pardee and a lot of the other people like that. And Nashville created an outlet for Cody Johnson, Parker McCullum, Randall King, and all of those Texas artists. Somebody's taking notice. And there's going to be more to come because people are, the Nashville people are watching us. I'm very good allies, even with the Country Music Association, because they contacted me to see how they can help us, believe it or not.
That's awesome.
That we don't look at each other as competition or anything like that. We work together. And I would say that anybody that doesn't feel like that you should work as a team for your industry, they're going to fail, ultimately, because, people that don't work together and don't have the benefit of the artists and the industry, in the forefront of their mind or their purpose, they're going to silently go away, eventually. And I love working with other people, other organizations, and anybody that's got, like what I call like-minded.
Yes, exactly. Well, speaking of all those artists and how much we've grown, huge events coming up again this year is the Texas Country Music Awards. It's coming up in November. And so as we speak now, the first round of nominations had just wrapped up. So let's talk about the nomination process, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the opportunities for the awards as well. But this is a fun time of the year to watch the nomination process going on to get ready leading up to November.
It is. And actually the nominations close tomorrow night at midnight, June 15th. Anybody can nominate. They can go to our website, texascountrymusic.org, place a nomination. You don't have to be a TCMA member to nominate. You don't have to nominate a TCMA member. It's open to the public. The benefit that we've worked out for TCMA members is that their votes double for anyone that they're nominating. And then when we tally all of the nominations that come through, we vet them. We make sure there's not duplicates, or because we only really allow one per person. So we double check the emails, we double check the IP addresses and all of that. And then we come down to the top 5 finalists. Those are verified by our nominating committee, who also gets nominations of their own. And then those go to vote. Those are the top 5 finalists, and they go to vote. And the voting will be July 1st through August 15th. And after that's over with, we'll find out who wins on November 13th.
I know, it's so exciting. I got goosebumps just talking about it, talking about getting, down to that point. So also, tickets are on sale as well.
Tickets go on sale on June 17th. Ironically, the same day that Roger Krager, who is headlining the award show, is playing at Billy Bob's. And so we'll have Monty Dawson, our vice president, up there at Billy Bob's, making a formal announcement, inviting people that are there to come back to get their tickets online. The tickets will be online at billybobstexas.com or on a link through texascountrymusic.org. Yeah.
And speaking of that, let's talk about the entertainment that will be on stage that's already been announced.
Well, Roger Krager is going to be headlining our finale, and we're super excited about that. He's been a favorite of mine for a really long time, and a very good friend of mine. Plays keyboard for him in the Squeezebox, Alan Huff. He played for Doug Supernaw, who was a very good friend of mine back when Doug had the Possum Eating Cowboys. So I've known him for, 30 something.
Long time.
So I'm excited about that. We've also got opening the show this year is Ken Foe, who will be opening the pre-show, which will start at 5:00. We've also got the main ceremony is going to be opened by Terry McBride in the Ride. The original.
Oh, it's crazy. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Terry McBride is from Lampasas, Texas. He's also getting our Trailblazer Award this year, and we're excited about that. Terry also recorded a song with Ken Foe. He's going to sing with them on their set.
Oh, wow. The Wild Horses. All right. Yeah. Yes.
And of course, Brandon Ryder, our TCMA spokesperson, he's also a host along with Malone Ranger at the ranch. And Brandon will be singing a song to, I think, Bailey Ray. And then other than that, performers will be, they'll be invited to perform one acoustic song is each emerging artist finalist.
Yes.
And we don't know who that's going to be yet, but we will, of course, in plenty of time.
I know, that's so exciting. And then there's also some other opportunities for with the awards for sponsorship and advertising if someone wants to get involved with that.
Oh yes, if we have sponsors every year. Some drop out, some we get new ones and things like that. Right now is the time to get in if anybody wants to sponsor and become more involved, in that way and get the benefit of the notoriety and the exposure through that sponsorship. We definitely need them. It costs a whole lot of money to put on this show, and we aren't the CMA, we don't have that kind of funds. So we have to depend on our members, our sponsors, our advertisers on either any of our websites or in our souvenir program, which is also handed out at the show and then stays online, perpetually. So.
The one thing that was so special for me last year was number one, being able to be there. Number two, having the honor to actually do the interviews on the red carpet. But it was just such great fellowship. It was like a family reunion. I saw people I hadn't seen in years, like back in my radio days. I have, a lot of new friends that have come through the podcast that we actually got to meet in person. And there's just a bond and there's just this camaraderie. It just warms your heart when you're around everyone there.
Yes. And, historically, that's what I've called the award show since we started them. This will be the 6th year. Our first one was in 2017. This will be our 4th year at Billy Bob's. And I've always called it's like a big family reunion because, artists are out playing. People like you are out doing their thing. They don't really always get to fellowship together and talk. And the great thing about the artists is you've got one from San Antonio and one from Dallas, and they're exchanging venues and saying, hey, how about, getting with so-and-so and going, it's great. It's a way to spread the gospel, if you will, of Texas country all around. And we have people come in from we've got good friends that come in from Poland, and Australia and Canada. And of course, several from Nashville and other places in the country. They come in just for this award show. So, and it's such a good time, and everybody's happy and enjoying themselves. And the after party now, the after party at Hotel Drover, were you there?
Yes, I was there.
Was that not a hoot?
It
That
was
was
wonderful.
that was a
Absolutely
hoot.
wonderful.
That was
Yes.
when all of our staff and the artists and everything that were performing got to just kick their boots off and enjoy themselves and just mingle around and talk to everybody. And so it was more of a benefit, I think, for us and our staff than it was for any, because we're intense when we're there. I know you saw me because I am like strung out like a shoestring, the whole time. Even though we have people doing everything, I'm still,
Oh,
like a
yes.
maniac. I tell people, if you want to meet me, come up there. You'll have to grab me, but I'm the crazy woman running around, looking like an idiot half the time. But it's such a good time, and I
Yeah,
love seeing everybody. And they're all like all the artists and everybody. I mean, I'm older, and so
me
they're
too.
like they call me mom. I'm like the mama of the group. So
The one thing I was going to say is what a wonderful event it was for so many people. And it's where you make lifetime memories at the awards, and the logistics and the whole presentation was absolutely amazing. So,
I have
where's,
to really give credit to Billy Bob's for that, and
yes.
our producer Chad Malden, who's been with us from day one, Lonnie Dawson, who works so hard behind the scenes, Clayton Cullen, who helps with the video production for Cowboy Channel and RFD TV. I mean, though without Jay Z at Billy Bob's, this is his 4th year. I mean, it's not just a job to him. He takes this so very seriously, and the staff at Billy Bob's are fabulous. They love this event, and gosh, we appreciate everything they do so much.
Yeah, it's so exciting. So I think I encourage a lot of, because we have a lot of young artists just getting started that listen to our podcast. And I mean, I would encourage, like, just for education and networking, to come out, and the general public to come. Especially, I've told all my friends when I came back, I said, y'all, this is not like a private thing. I said, y'all love Texas music, you should make plans and go. It's just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the public is invited. Um, it the way I describe it to people who have never, like an artist, will, if I'm talking to an artist on the phone that they've never been, I'm like, wait a minute, you have to come. You'll meet so many people,
Mhm.
because it's not just other artists, it's media,
Yes,
and
yes.
the venue owners and people that run recording studios, producers and promoters and agents. And I mean, it's such a good networking thing. It's such a benefit for them, to be there. And I always tell them, it'll blow you away.
Oh, yes, it will.
Don't compare it to what you see on television with ACM or CMA, because it's not like that. I don't know if we had the funds to do it that way, I would ever want it.
That's right.
It's
Right.
so more, it's us, it's Texas, it's what we
Mhm.
do.
Yes. And I think, and it was so exciting too last year to talk to so many people, because, like, as Texans, we have our hometown roots, somebody that knew your cousin, knew your aunt, knew your uncle. But what was really exciting, I mean, a personal award that was won, was Schrader Dance Hall, because I've seen them go through so many changes, and to think, oh my gosh, look at our Schrader Dance Hall. That's like in my backyard. I'm on the coast, but regionally, that's like one of the bigger places for me to go, because I'm in the middle of nowhere. But it's just things like that, to where you're like, I've been there, or I've seen that person, or I remember the first time that artist played at my fair, and now they're winning these awards, or up there performing and nominated. It's just, the whole process is exciting.
Absolutely. Oh, and about Schrader Hall, I was born in Victoria, Texas, and my
Okay.
family is from Goliad. And so my brother is 11 years older than me. So when I was a little girl, he took me there one time. I don't know what they were doing there. They were doing something where a kid could go. I was probably 5 or 6 years old. And I remember going there with him, and he was a teenager, and I'll never forget it. And I told Christine Krause and her husband, I mean, they're fabulous people, do such a great job. Another one of my favorite categories is the not really category, but it's where we give out the artist scholarship.
I had that on my notes. Yes.
Yes, yeah. And the
Let's
artist scholarship is it goes to a deserving artist. I mean, not that everyone's not deserving, but somebody that we've noticed, or one of our staff or one of our board members have noticed, that really deserves that little extra boost of maybe getting a recording, getting photography, getting a distribution. And Joe Kelly gives distribution through CDX. Chad Malden does a recording every year. It's Courtney Ritter, my daughter, who's the photographer. She'll do a photo session, and anything else we can come up with that's donated to help them, boost their career a little bit.
See, that's so wonderful. So and before we wrap it up, anything else I haven't covered that you'd like to put out there for the listeners?
Well, I mean, I think one of the biggest things that we're doing, we're reviving Texas Country Music Magazine. It is online in digital format. It's a little bit of a work in progress. So we're adding, we've got somebody now that's starting to do all the editing of it. So we're constantly adding new things. We've got, new artists to watch, or not necessarily new artists to watch, but artists to watch. I think this week we've got Chad Cook Band, Laura Leonard, and Jesse Robb Jr., who are
awesome.
And we've done other stories and articles, and it's TexasCountryMusicMagazine.com.
Okay. All right. Well, we're looking forward to the nominations coming up and watching the process, and then heading down to Fort Worth for the awards in November. Linda, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And most of all, thank you so much for your heart and soul and your passion and all you do for Texas country music.
Thank you. I don't know why I get so much credit. I mean, it's just what I do.
I know. And when you were telling the story about being at Schrader Dance Hall when you were 5 years old and the impact it had, obviously that touched your heart and soul. And it's like that rearing and that raising, it always comes out in us, don't it?
Right.
Yes,
it does.
It does. All right. Thank you so much, Linda Wilson.
Thank you.
And with a heavy tongue, she knew where I was from. As she left, I dared to say, well, you can go to hell. Hell, I'll go to Texas. I've had my fill of every place but home. Well, take away